All right. What's good, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to the story mode, specifically another Soul Ramble mode, because there's still so much Nintendo stuff that we have yet to talk about. But in this particular one, I've been kind of sitting on this one for a couple of days just to see, what I wanted to do with this one, because originally, this video was not supposed to be this. It was actually me on the opposite end of things saying like, oh, I'm really looking forward to the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom upgrades and things. But now, I'm still looking forward to them per se, but there is a piece of news that really just gets to me. That really just made me want to like, all right, enough is enough. We need to talk about this, right? So, as you all know, with the Switch 2 coming out in June, we are set to get a very specific amount of Switch 2 editions. And these Switch 2 editions are either essentially like remasters or they are like upgrades or like DLC, essentially, right? In the case of Kirby, it's DLC. In the case of Legends EA, it's weird, I guess, but it's almost like a remaster of a brand new game day one. It's super weird. Metroid, obviously, getting the Switch 2 version, and then one of the most important ones, obviously, would be Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Both major Era of the Wild Zelda games are getting Switch 2 editions. Now, of course, that means that these games are getting, like, just overhauls in terms of quality, so they now run... Sorry if you can hear the cracking, by the way. What the heck? I need to stop doing that. But they're running at a smooth, like, handheld 60 frames, HD, and then, like, docked, it's possibly running like 4K, 120 frames, whatever. It's running, both games are running so smooth, it's absolutely insane. They're getting like upgraded like loading times and things like that. The games just look and run so much better. It's absolutely insane, right? And so, that's all good and dandy because, especially for Breath of the Wild, that game is so... like, it still holds up very well, even for an 8-year-old game. That game is almost a decade old, and it still holds up pretty damn well, I would say, right? But the fact that that game is getting, like, a complete, like, overhaul to, like, run smoother, look better, and it's getting, like, a couple of, like, extra additions through the app stuff, which we'll talk more about in a bit, is, quite the package deal. As a remaster, I can live with that. I feel like that's a solid remaster. It's getting a lot of different things that it definitely needed, that it just couldn't do on the Switch 1. It's literally reaching its full capacity, its full capabilities by being a Switch 2 upgrade now. And that is really, really awesome. And what's even more impressive is how quickly the turnaround for Tears of the Kingdom was as well, because again, that game's not even 2 full years old. It's almost 2 years old in like a month or something like that, which is really, really cool. So, we take what we can get out here, and that game looks like it runs better, loading times look better, overworld just looks better, and it's also getting its connection to the phone and things like that, and that's great, and that's awesome, right? So we're getting all of this content, and that's dope, that's dandy, right? Now here is where I get a little sour, right? Now, here's the thing. We've been mad for the last couple of weeks now in regards to the Nintendo prices, especially when it comes to things like Mario Kart, because here's the problem. Nintendo, they are trendsetters. They do what they want at their own pace. They have never really tried to be in competition with like PlayStation and Xbox nearly as much as they were with each other. Like those two were always butting head to head, and Nintendo was always just doing its own thing, focusing on the quality of their games. And don't get me wrong, Nintendo games are very, very, very high quality. So, that's all fine and dandy, right? The problem, one of the biggest problems with Nintendo is that their big heads get in the way of understanding that older games it need to be lowered in price if you want people to go out of their way to pay for them. Because, if somebody wasn't buying a game at full price at launch, that means that they might consider it down the line if it's at a cheaper price, right? Because, that's how video games should work. It's years old. Everybody's already played this game. Everybody spoiled this game. People talked about it on Twitter. All the reviews have been out, yada, yada, yada. So anybody could go online, get an impression of it, and maybe, not want to go out of their way to pay full price for a game if they have already seen, like, reviews and things like that, yada, 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 right? Now, you look at the pricing for Nintendo games, and 8 years later, right? Breath of the Wild, as a prime example, is still full price. Full $60, has never, ever gone down in price, right? That's insane. That's, excuse my French, that's batshit, right? So, that's insane in of itself, right? And then you look at the Switch 2 editions. Now, the thing about this is that, again, the problem with these games getting remasters is that they are Nintendo remasters, right? Which means that you're paying for the game and then you are still paying for the remaster if on the off chance you don't have these games, right? So the benefit of all of this is if you have these games already and you just want to own, quote unquote, the upgrades, you only got to pay $10 for each of them. Cool, great, dandy. I can live with that. If you don't own the games, you are paying $70 for Breath of the Wild and $90 for Tears of the Kingdom. Or, sorry, $70 for Breath of the Wild, $80 for Tears of the Kingdom. Sorry, excuse me, had that backwards. I'm thinking Mario Kart. I got Mario Kart on the brain. That's my bad, gang. But either way, so you're paying full price plus the upgrades. That's freaking bonkers, but whatever. Most people already own these games, so it's not that big of an upgrade or that big of a deal to upgrade. And there's also the fact that if you have the highest tier of NSO, you get these upgrades for free. You get all of these for free. So, you know, if you're already paying for it, then you already get the stuff. It's whatever. It's not the craziest thing in the world, right? Fine. That's dandy. I can live with that. But my God, my God, if you are one of the poor souls that for whatever reason decided to wait on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to lower in price, and then you saw that these games are getting upgrades, remasters, whatever, and you're like, okay, they look a lot better now, I'm down to look into it. Now you're paying the price to get them for even more, right? Because now you're either looking at $70 for Breath of the Wild, $80 for Tears of the Kingdom. But what's even worse, and this is what got me to make this video in the first place, you could be potentially paying up to $90 minimum for Breath of the Wild, because the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 upgrade does not come with the DLC. You do not get the DLC included with the upgrade or the game. You still have to buy it separately. That runs me up a wall, dog. Because what are we talking about spending $90 full dollars, bro? 90 smackaroons on an 8-year-old game with 7-year-old DLC. Are we joking? Are we kidding? That's crazy to me. That is absolutely asinine pricing, and I simply cannot get behind those decisions, right? Because here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. The Breath of the Wild DLC is very solid, right? It adds on, more content, adds on more challenges, adds on just more shrines, more things to do. It gives you a lot, and even gives you, spoiler alert, again, this game is almost a decade old. You get, a sick-ass boss fight, secret boss fight, not secret per se, sick-ass boss fight that earns you Link's Divine Beast. Right? At this point, if you're playing through Breath of the Wild again, you're going to want to do everything. You want to do everything that this game has to offer, especially if you're paying upwards of $70 for it. Right? But to punish people and still make them pay the extra $20 to get the DLC that's been there for that long. It's like, guys, how much money do you really think you'll be missing out on if you were just to lower the price a little bit and throw in the DLC? Like, how hurt do you guys think you guys will be if you were to make the whole thing like $40? Jesus. Here's my thing. I mean, it's just basic principle. It's just like common sense. If you want to sell a product more, right? And people find it too expensive, only a certain select few people will be able to buy the product. Hey, guess what? You want to make that product accessible to everybody so you can sell more. And the best way to do that, to make it accessible, is to lower the price so more people have the opportunity to pay for it and get the product, right? I mean, you know, it's simple. It's simple sugar. You look at like movie ticket prices, right? Movie tickets are stupid expensive. For AMC, it's like 20 something for a ticket to see a 2-hour, 3-hour movie. $20 for a ticket. Jesus Christ, whatever. But think about it this way. Everybody and their mamas are always going to the deals that are happening every Tuesday at all of these theaters because, hey, it's a cheaper ticket now. Now it makes more sense to afford it. And guess what? They're making more money off of those extra discount days. Hey, what if we did that with our games? Especially our very old I'm sorry. Breath of the Wild is now an old game. It is almost 10. That game came out when I was in high school. That was ages ago, man. That's too long. But you're going to sit there and you fully believe that if you were to lower the price, you'd be losing that much money? That's insanity to me. Now, of course, this may be a dramatic take because, again, I already own both Breath of the Wild, the DLC, and Tears of the Kingdom. So, for me, the maximum that I'm going to have to pay, if I'm not already paying for Nintendo Switch Online at the most premium service, the max I would have to pay is $20 for the upgrade. For both, obviously, not for one. But, you know, I just feel bad for anybody that wants to get into Zelda. They're getting a Switch 2 and they're going to need some stuff to play on their Switch 2. And, you know, if they've never played Zelda, they really want to get into it through Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, because the games look good. They just never had the chance. Guess what? Now they're punished for it. Now they got to pay damn near like $200 for the full experience of Heir of the Wild. That's not even including the spin-off stuff. But, like, that's just absolutely asinine to me. And I just cannot get behind this practice. Jeez. Good Shinx Almighty. Shinx Almighty, man. I can't do it. Now the thing is it worth it for that? Now, like I said, I made a video before this kind of talking about, like, you know, would this all be worth it, right? And here's the thing. They feel that it's worth it because of all the additional content that they're adding on with the connection to the Nintendo app, right? With those connections, we're getting things like a navigation tracker. We're getting, well, for Breath of the Wild specifically, we're getting a navigation tracker. We're getting, like, all of these voice memories from Zelda. Like, she, like, literally came in to record more voice lines to, like, add on to the world of, you know, Hyrule. Like, you could go to very specific areas and a voice memory will pop up. It has, like, a little location thing for, like, Koroks and things like that in the map. That's awesome. That's great, you know? And there's stuff that I haven't even mentioned, right? And then in the case of Tears of the Kingdom, we're getting even more stuff, like the QR codes for your builds. Like, you can send your like builds to other people so that they can use it in their game and they can craft it themselves and have it as a part of their arsenal, you know? Somebody's gonna make that hover bike. Guess what? You just have the QR code. You never have to make the bike again. You just scan that QR code in. Or the amiibo thing where it tracks the amiibo and, you know, it'll tell you how many times you've use the amiibo in a week, and then once you've used it for like 4 or 5 days straight, you get like a special reward the next time you use it. That is cool. That's dandy. That's awesome. And then there's like the bonuses, you know, you get like the roll feature, which will give you like, you know, certain items to help you on your journey every day. It can be used every 24 hours. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is meaningless, that this is effortless, that this isn't good content to add to the games, but the fact that these games, one of them almost 2 years old now, which, whatever, I'm not even looking at Tears of the Kingdom, mostly Breath of the Wild, this game is old. This game is 8 years old. Kid's going to be in middle school soon. Like, what are we doing here? I'm saying? So, I don't know. I think people have a right to be angry about something like this, especially if they don't have Breath of the Wild. And even if they do, it's just kind of ridiculous for them to expect, like, people to have to pay for the DLC when there are people that were willing to get the DLC, but they just wanted to wait for a more decent price. Now they're extra punished because if they want the premium experience for this game, they have to pay out the ass for a full price game plus the benefits. Cannot get behind it. But I don't know. If you believe that's worth it, then, by all means, if you got the money for it, then absolutely. But again, maybe this is pointless for me to complain about because a lot of people, anybody that is going to own these games owns these games. Most people that have ever owned a Switch and is going to get a Switch too very likely owns both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, most likely the DLC, because again, almost a decade old. Most people have gotten their hands on this one way or another. So, whatever. Maybe it's not even that big of a deal, but I don't know. I just feel like punishing and gatekeeping newcomers through full price and extra pricing, not a good look. Not a good look. But then again, y'all are charging $10 for the Welcome Tour Nintendo Switch 2 manual. So, yeah, piss off of that. But either way, that's enough out of me. I'm passing the mic over to you guys. I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comments section below. Do you agree that it's kind of asinine that they're expecting people to pay full price for 8-year-old games and that, they're never going to go down in price and that now we have to pay possibly upwards of $90 if you were to want the full experience if you don't own these games? Or am I just being a big baby about it? It doesn't even really matter because most people own these games anyway, and the $10, $20 pricing to get to the upgrades for both of these games is totally worth it. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. And with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.
To my last dream. To my last dream. Girl, I'm feeling shame.